Hey guys, I haven't made a video in a while. Mainly because I'm starting to feel like I'm being boxed in with what I can say. When this started, my very first video was about agoraphobia, and that was true, everything I said back in 2007, but like all people, you evolve in your way of thinking. And back then, I felt still very much so that doctors, even though I said that they were not very helpful and that they didn't get agoraphobia. I still believe that today. I do not believe that they're very helpful at all. I think it's very much caused by other things, which I had mentioned in other videos. But that's neither here nor there. So I would like to not just talk about benzo withdrawal and not just talk about agoraphobia, although I will continue to do so. I no longer even believe that I have agoraphobia. I think that I was misdiagnosed as having such. Um, I do not really have an issue with going far. I have an issue with feeling like absolute crap and having to travel because on days that I feel fine, I have no issue traveling. Therefore, that can't be a phobia. If I can go to the store on Wednesday and be fine because I feel well, and then on Thursday I feel like I'm having a hard time even functioning in my own apartment and I cannot go to the store because I don't feel like going to the store because I feel so sick, that doesn't make sense to me. I think a lot of agoraphobics might be in that situation where it's not even true agoraphobia and you're being told that this is what it is because they don't know what's wrong with you. So that's the first thing. So I still get emails about agoraphobia, which obviously I'm well versed on because I went to therapy for so long and it started as a teenager, so I know a lot about it, so I can still pretty much help. But I find that a lot of people email me that have it and they still pretty much are complaining about other things, and it's being pushed off on agoraphobia. I think depression's pushed off. I mean, there's obviously real depression, but some people have other problems, and they're just clinging to that category. If I'm depressed or I have agoraphobia or everything, it's exhausting. I'm probably not going to be taking a lot of, well, I'll be getting emails, but I'm not going to really reply anymore. It's absolutely draining for me. It's almost like that whole psychic vampire thing. Most people who contact me really just want to complain. They don't want help. I got an email not too long ago from a person who had a certain situation, and I had mentioned that there was a particular diet that was helpful in controlling those particular symptoms. And I had mentioned, and I said, "Do you ever hear about, this?" And they said that they had, and they thought about it, and then they decided it wasn't for them. Well, then why are you emailing me? If you watch my videos, you know I'm very focused on diet, using food as medicine, using exercise as medicine. People are lazy. I have found through this whole experience, people don't truly want help. People want a quick fix. They want to be able to do everything that they deem as normal, never thinking for a second that maybe what everyone else is doing isn't even normal. The way that we live in general is not normal. And just because you can't lay there and have someone with a drill drilling your teeth and be relaxed makes you somehow abnormal. I mean, someone's in your mouth drilling. I think it's pretty normal to have a reaction, and everyone's supposed to be like a zombie and calm, and that's not life. Just like when my mother died, the very first thing that I got from people was, "Oh, if you feel like you need to go on medication, go on medication." Why? It's normal to feel that way, and I have said that, many, many times. The other thing that's very draining for me is people who know what happened to me or haven't bothered to even go through more than one of my videos tell me to go on Xanax or on a benzo, or how they're on a benzo and they're looking for more benzos, or they want benzos. And it's like, well, you're talking to the wrong person. If you think for 1 second I'm going to tell you that it's a good idea, short of you having like a seizure disorder or anything else, if you just have anxiety and you want to go on benzodiazepines, that's your business. But I'm not going to give you the okay on it. I'm not going to somehow say, oh, well, maybe it won't hurt you. I mean, there's no way to say that it won't. And with all the people that have contacted me that have had problems with benzodiazepines coming off of them, that I mean, it's your life. If you want to destroy yourself further, then go right ahead, be my guest. I am tired of debating things with people. I'm tired of just having to explain over and over, and it's laziness. People want, someone came across one of my videos, I think it was 17 minutes long, and they said they didn't have time to watch it. What was the gist of it? Well, if you can't watch something for 17 minutes, then you sure as hell are not going to read anything that I mention or look into anything that I mention. People don't even know how to use Google, apparently. Um, I am just done with people mostly. What I would really like is people in my life who genuinely um, look into things themselves and try to help. And I do have one person that I talk to that does do that. He has a lot of problems, but he's always, researching and looking. And that doesn't mean that you'll research and look and actually find the answer. You may not, you may never find the answer. But people who are willing to just let themselves be absolutely destroyed, not change the way they eat, not lose weight, even though they're so heavy that they can't walk and they're just in some like cart in the supermarket. People don't say what the truth is, and the truth is if you've gotten that fat, you are lazy. Stop being lazy. If you want to be fat, fine, but if you don't want to be fat, it's the food. It is what you are eating. No one came out of a concentration camp in Nazi Germany fat. So it is the food. Very rarely is it ever a problem with thyroid or anything else. And if you're blowing up like a balloon and you're on antidepressants, that's why you are blowing up like a balloon. I mean, there is drugs that do these things. Now, if you're on a drug to treat an illness that you must take the drug for and it's causing weight gain, that's a different story than just someone who is just, eating a bucket of fried chicken and complaining about how they have diabetes and can't control their blood sugar. You are lazy and you don't want to read. You do not want to educate yourself. You don't want to try things. You don't want to experiment with things. You want everyone else to give you the answers to the very thing that you can find the answers for yourself. So that's one thing. The next thing is, let's see, my father has been going to see doctors since my mother died, and he has type 2 diabetes, which he could control if he started exercising because he's thin. It won't be a problem for him. He's approaching 70 years old. His blood sugar is actually not that far out of range, like maybe 10 points out of range, so that's good. He has high cholesterol, but he has high cholesterol because he continues to eat meat. He continues to eat things that say they're healthy, even though the foods we know aren't healthy, or anyone who can read would know that the foods aren't healthy. He has gone to a nutrition class that the doctors sponsor that, of course, tell you can eat anything you want as long as it's in moderation, and that's not going to help fix the problem. I've guided him a little bit, but even with him, there's only so much I can say or do. I cannot force the man to sit down and eat a certain way. It's going to have to be something that comes from within, and it's not going to be. He's not someone who is interested in that, like most people. Like, there's commercials, you see that, oh, I get heartburn when I eat this, but I just take a Pepcid AC beforehand and I can eat it. You're not supposed to eat it. Obviously, your body doesn't want you to eat these things. Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting heartburn to begin with. And also people say, well, I ate it before, I was fine. It takes years and years of damage to your body for something to happen. And that doesn't mean that I don't do things that, don't damage me. Obviously, I've spoken before about being a smoker. And I had quit for about 4 months, and everything was going good, and my mom had her first stroke, and I had a really bad day, and stupidly, I went back because I had wanted to... I hadn't drank alcohol in about 3 years by this point, and I knew I had a tendency to abuse alcohol when I drank it. And so I didn't want to break the 3-year thing of not drinking. So what I ended up doing was thought, well, I've only not smoked for 4 months. Let me smoke some cigarettes, and I'm not ready to deal with this. And I went and smoked, and of course I continued smoking. I then made a second attempt to quit again, and I was almost done smoking and I was really close to stopping again. And then my mother had the stroke and died. And then I had the surgery to take out my appendix. So I wasn't ready for that either. And it's not even really an excuse. It's like, so what if I wasn't ready? I should have just stopped. But I didn't. And I know the power of addiction with cigarettes. So anyone who is a smoker, I understand that, but you have to quit. I mean, period. You have to stop. I have to stop. And I am now down to like smoking 2 hours a day. Granted, I'm chain smoking those 2 hours, but it needs to end. Number one, because I can't afford it, and number two, because it's absolutely taking a toll on my health. I can feel it when I wake up. You know, it makes me cough more. Even talking about it makes me want to cough, and I do cough. Everything from it. So it needs to end. I mean, a lot of things, like even with me, come down to laziness. I don't want to exercise every day. Well, tough, and I've been making myself do it every single day for an hour, every day on the treadmill. Now I just watch Law and Order while I'm on it, just because I know the show runs an hour, so I record them ahead of time and then just watch it to do it. Back to my father, I was saying he went to doctors and everything in type 2 diabetes. He's on cholesterol medication, which I'm not only against psych drugs, I'm also very much against the statin drugs, the other drugs that reduce cholesterol. For reasons that you can find on your own. And so hopefully he won't have to be on that forever. I'm trying to get him to understand certain things that will naturally lower it for him because, like I said, even his high cholesterol is not so high that it's like super dangerous at this point. It can be adjusted. But I don't think it'll happen because he's still going to want to go to the barbecue, go down to my sister's house, and, you know, people have in their head that everything in moderation is fine, and that's not the truth. That's something that people don't tell you. It's not okay to do anything that's bad for you in moderation. It does hurt you. Most of the foods that we eat now on a daily basis in this country and even in Europe are holiday foods from the past. These were things that were consumed maybe once a year, and now we consume them as our main diet. People think that they deserve to have cake. They deserve to have all these fattening foods, and it's not the truth. You don't deserve it. You're supposed to be eating to live, not living to eat, which is a term that's used quite often. You want to gorge yourself on things, and this is what happens. Now, in my case, years of eating poorly has done, damage to myself. It manifested in a certain way. Other people feel fine and then just drop dead out of nowhere, and their whole heart's clogged up, or they end up with some other disease. And the truth of the matter is, there's different philosophies, but I'm kind of attached to this one, especially over the past couple of years. There's not really all these different diseases. There's really only one disease, and it's all the toxins that you're putting in, we're breathing. And of course, there's natural breakdown of the body. But it doesn't have to go the way that it is. And this is, of course, ignoring genetic things and everything else. So most of the diseases in this country don't exist in rural areas in China, in other places where they actually eat real food, even though it's quote-unquote boring to people here who want to continue to eat this way. And people want to debate whether NutraSweet and the fake sugars are safe or not. They're not safe. I mean, this is obvious that they're not safe, but people want to consume them, so consume them. Just keep doing it. There's also the argument where, well, my grandfather lived to be 90 and he ate everything. Well, your grandfather had a certain set of genetics that you probably don't have because you have your grandmother, you have your parents, all those genetics bled into you. And that's kind of like saying, well, I don't know. I mean, it's just to rely on that just to go and have, to eat whatever you want is not acceptable to me anymore. I'm having a hard time articulating this because I feel annoyed by a lot of people right now. I feel that it just really comes down to laziness. I think people are lazy. I think people are stupid. I think that people don't read. They can't comprehend anything. I don't understand why. I don't think that I'm a particularly smart person. I think that I'm pretty much average, and these things are not hard to grasp. People can't even read labels on the back of food products. They don't know any of these things. They don't know how to read fat. They don't know about serving sizes. This is all very basic things that I and others have tried to teach people. So my father has, I keep going off topic, my father has anemia, which at his age is usually the number one cause for a male of his age to have anemia. Iron deficiency anemia is colon cancer, stomach cancer, or throat cancer. The second reason is taking an NSAID drug, like Celebrex, aspirin, Advil. He takes a baby aspirin every day for the past year because a lot of people are told that taking a baby aspirin can help prevent heart attacks, which isn't actually true at all. There's finding that now, but people still believe that and take the baby aspirin all the time. So the bleeding could be from that. Hopefully it's from that. So he'll have to probably be told eventually to stop it. He will be on September 8th taking a colonoscopy for the first time since my mother died. Well, since forever, he's never done one, and we'll see. Maybe he has colon cancer. I don't know. So that's another thing I have to deal with right now. He talks to me a lot more than he ever did before. When my mother was alive, he just never talked, and now it's like I talk to him every couple days. I feel obligated sometimes to call and check up on him. He's more social, but I think it's because he has no one else to talk to. So, I mean, it has its pluses and minuses. It is a little weird to talk to him so much. It's nice though, because not ever having him really in my life, even though he was married to my mother the entire time and like he was there, he just never really said much. I feel sometimes it's a little too little too late. I mean, I will obviously have a cordial relationship. I do love my father, but I don't think he knows very much about me. And at being 35 years old, I don't feel like really catching him up with my entire life, or anyone for that matter, anymore. It's just kind of like, well, I was there the whole time, and there just wasn't a closeness that probably should have been there. People think that my mother's passing has changed who I am. I think the only thing it's done is just made me more of who I was. I'm not grieving over my mother's death, and I was waiting. Like I said before, I didn't think it was hitting me. I didn't think, and I realized it's not that. And it's really strange. Like, I may have said something before about it, but I doubt that I said it this particular way because it makes me sound heartless. And I loved my mom a lot. I talked to her all the time when she was alive, and I think about her still. But there was this part of me when she died, and then I went to the hospital 2 days later to have the appendectomy. When that kicked up, which as you all know, made me miss the wake and the funeral and everything, I felt and I thought, laying there in reference to her death, and I'm finally free, that I don't have to explain myself anymore, try to hide things about myself anymore, try to, and by hide things, I mean, I don't have to basically explain myself. Like, any idea that I ever have, I have a pattern in my life that I'm sure I create by drawing these type of people towards me, but I come up with ideas, or I have my own personal thoughts on things, and people shoot them down quite quickly, or they think that I'm being silly, or I'm weird, or all this stuff. And I've come to realize that it's not me, because everyone else seems to be able to be allowed to have an opinion about something. But if I do, and usually because my opinions are not the norm of society right now, that I am considered, strange or weird, or have my head in the clouds. And it's very degrading, and it's like it keeps someone from being who they are and expressing to people what they want out of their life, and it makes you feel like you need to apologize all the time. And I'm done apologizing to people. I think this new video series that I will be doing and uploading, should I decide to, will explain more about me. It's like I had mentioned in one video that I was gay, and then of course that brought out hate people and all sorts of stuff. And then the people that never watched the video and they ask me if I am, or they don't know if I am. Well, really, what's the difference? I mean, I only mentioned it because at that point I was in a relationship that was I was breaking up with someone I had been with for a long time, and there's all these people that are crazy. I mean, people are crazy. They want to judge you based on that. Being gay for me is just one part of me. I don't think about it all the time. It's not who I am at all. It's like when someone says, I'm a lawyer. No, you're not. That's something you do. I just happen to have this going on in my life. It's just what it is. People don't understand that there's spectrums of homosexuality, that there's gay people who basically flit all over the place and they're super flamey. I can't stand that. It's not something that I personally approve of. It's their life. I don't care. There's people that you would be around for 20 years and you would never know that they were. Not everyone has the stereotypes of, everything. I find that even in the gay community for myself, I'm not attached to it. Just because I am gay does not mean that I am somehow super involved with the gay community at all. I don't like the gay community personally. I don't really, and this is like a thing that shocks people, but I don't believe in gay marriage. Not saying that I don't think that I should be able to leave personal property to a partner. I don't say that someone shouldn't be able to make a health decision for me or see me in intensive care or do all the things that you would think of, and even adoption, stuff like that. But the gay marriage situation does not having gay marriage does not stop you from doing any of those things. And this is a media thing that, for lack of a better word, it's pumped up into, oh, well, they have to have the same rights as everyone else. You already do have the same rights as everybody else. You can't file federally for combined taxes. You can't. There's a lot of things that you cannot do, but at the same time, the straight world themselves are not getting married at the same rate. The divorce rate is 50%. And I know, being in the past, like I said, I'm not part of the gay community. I was many years ago in my 20s, and I can tell you exactly what goes on. And gay people hate when I say anything that's against the gay community. And the truth is that I can't speak for women that are gay. Lesbians are very different than gay men. But the truth of the matter is that gay men are not usually monogamous, and if they are, it doesn't last. Very rarely does it last. There is a large amount of cheating that takes place in the gay community. There are bathhouses and adult movie theaters and adult bookstores, and there is I'm not going to say that all gay people are promiscuous. I'm certainly not at this age. I mean, when I was younger, I was. But at the same time, you have people who are racking up 10 sex partners a night. You have people who know that they have HIV and they are purposely spreading it. There's people who don't have HIV and they are purposely trying to get it. And that subculture is called givers and chasers. And the givers have the gift, HIV, that they wish to give, and the chasers are chasing the bug, and the bug is HIV. And this goes on. There's a lot of lying that goes on where men that have HIV lie and say that they don't, and they go and sleep with people unprotected, or they take condoms off, or stuff like that. Meth use and drug use is very high in the gay community, as is substance abuse in general. They do not seem to be, not all, obviously I can't speak for all, but a large majority are not educated on STDs. And I think that could just go across the board for even heterosexual people, because people are surprised that you can get gonorrhea in your throat. People are surprised that you can do or have oral sex and get an STD. They seem to think that oral sex is safe, and they don't want to use condoms for oral sex, and just stuff like that. And it doesn't help now that doctors say that if you have HIV, that it's just like diabetes. It's a treatable illness, and that's not the truth. The truth of the matter is it's not a treatable illness that long-term is okay to have. It's not okay to have HIV. It doesn't mean that you are bad. I mean, what if I got it? Does that make me a bad person? No. And no, I do not have HIV at this time. Will I ever make a decision in a bad state of mind, or will I ever come across someone that maybe I date in the future or anything like that and get it? Yes, I could. Anyone can get it. But there are people that I do not have sympathy for, and those people are the people who go and have 10 sex partners a night, do not get tested, list on their profiles. They don't care if they have it. They aren't checking if they have it. It's just, oh, it's treatable. You just got to take a pill. But no one wants to talk about how these pills damage your heart and damage your liver and cause fat deposits to grow on the back of your neck or your back, or how it's linked to certain cancers now, and how, these pills are not okay to be taken. And there's also a large amount of people who can't tolerate the antiviral drugs. And so what do you do if you get that disease and you can't tolerate the antivirals? Then what do you do? And it's just, it's very much a culture of youth and body worship. If you are over the age of 25 and you're gay, a lot of people will cast you away because you're not young enough. Everyone's looking for the new young person that comes in. I'm not talking about pedophilia. Obviously, that's different than homosexuality, although some idiots can't seem to grasp that two consenting adults is a different story than an animal or a child, because an animal and a child cannot consent. So that's a whole different, scenario. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, that's my point. I'm not okay with gay marriage. I don't think I have the ability now, living in New York, to get married. I will not get married. I do want to go to a lawyer so Keith can make health decisions for me. I need to get some things in order, which I'm kind of picking ass over. I'm not really doing anything about it at this point. But I guess I'll just say one last thing. When I was growing up and I started to realize that I didn't know that I was gay. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I just had certain thoughts or everything. I just kind of like, when you are little, you get a crush on somebody, and I just kind of thought I wanted to be that person's friend, but I actually had a crush on the person. And it's just, you kind of know when you're young. But it's interesting for me because I'm not bisexual, but I'm not 100% gay either. It's just kind of like that continuum. Like I said, some people are more gay than others, and I don't really like the gay community all that much, and I feel, I don't know. I'll maybe talk about that more some other time. I'm sure this will get some weird backlash eventually, but the good thing is I no longer care. I don't care. I'm going to talk about things that I think about. And it doesn't even mean that if you're watching this and it's been 3 years, maybe my views change. It's just my view on things. But I'm going to let you go because this video is really long, and I will make another video soon. And assuming if you see this video, just know that if you went this long, that there will be another video coming after it, and then another one. I don't know when I'll exactly upload it, but if I decide to put them up, this will be a series of different videos. So I'll talk to you all later. Bye. The therapy for so long, and it started as a teenager, so I know a lot about it, so I can still pretty much help. But I find that a lot of people email me that have it, and they still pretty much are complaining about other things, and it's being pushed off on agoraphobia. I think depression's pushed off. I mean, there's obviously real depression, but some people have other problems, and they're just clinging to that category. If I'm depressed, or I have agoraphobia, or everything, it's just, it's exhausting. I'm probably not going to be taking a lot of, well, I'll be getting emails, but I'm not going to really reply anymore. It's absolutely draining for me. It's almost like that whole psychic vampire thing. Most people who contact me really just want to complain. They don't want help. It isn't even normal. The way that we live in general is not normal. And just because you can't lay there and have someone with a drill drilling your teeth and be relaxed makes you somehow abnormal. I mean, someone's in your mouth drilling. I think it's pretty normal to have a reaction, and everyone's supposed to be like a zombie and calm, and that's not life. Just like when my mother died, the very first thing that I got from people was, oh, if you feel like you need to go on medication, go on medication. Why? It's normal to feel that way, and I have said that, many, many times. The other thing that's very draining for me is people who know. Hey guys, I haven't made a video in a while. Mainly because I'm starting to feel like I'm being boxed in with what I can say. When this started, my very first video was about agoraphobia, and that was true, everything I said back in 2007, but like all people, you evolve in your way of thinking. And back then, I felt still very much so that doctors, even though I said that they were not very helpful and that they didn't get agoraphobia, I still believe that today. I do not believe that they're very helpful at all. I think it's very much caused by other things, which I had mentioned in other videos. That's neither here nor there. So I would like to not just talk about benzo withdrawal and not just talk about agoraphobia, although I will continue to do so. I got an email not too long ago from a person who had a certain situation, and I had mentioned that there was a particular diet that was helpful in controlling those particular symptoms. And I had mentioned, and I said, "Do you ever hear about, this?" And they said that they had, and they thought about it, and then they decided it wasn't for them. Well, then why are you emailing me? If you watch my videos, you know I'm very focused on diet, using food as medicine, using exercise as medicine. People are lazy, I have found through this whole experience. People don't truly want help. People want a quick fix. They want to be able to do everything that they deem as normal, never thinking for a second that maybe what everyone else is doing. No longer even believe that I have agoraphobia. I think that I was misdiagnosed as having such. I do not really have an issue with going far. I have an issue with feeling like absolute crap and having to travel, because on days that I feel fine, I have no issue traveling. Therefore, that can't be a phobia. If I can go to the store on Wednesday and be fine because I feel well, and then on Thursday I feel like I'm having a hard time even functioning in my own apartment, and I cannot go to the store because I don't feel like going to the store because I feel so sick, that doesn't make sense to me. I think a lot of agoraphobics might be in that situation where it's not even true agoraphobia and you're being told that this is what it is because they don't know what's wrong with you. So that's the first thing. So I still get emails about agoraphobia, which obviously I'm well versed on because I went